Khamzat Chimaev has been a name and a guy that is on the tip of people's tongues ever since we saw him. Let's not forget this was just pretty recently that he just burst onto the scene in the UFC. And we've been talking about him ever since. This dude comes out here and just runs through people, 2 weight classes in, 10 days, blows the doors off him, goes in there with a fight with Mershot, smokes him with the first punch. I mean, gets his fight with Gilbert Burns, right? This is the one that we look and we're like, okay, as impressive as Chimaev has been, as much as he's done, we've seen a lot of guys who've looked impressive. We've seen a lot of guys who've been able to come into the UFC and do big things, right? There's no shortage of people who've come in and in their initial fights, they've done great work. But as they've continued to move up the ranks, as they continue to face better competition, then we start to see, are they still able to put it together? Do they falter a little bit? Do they got some holes in their game? Where are the holes? How are they going to look against certain types of fighters, right? We sit there and we think we can't wait for this guy to meet a wrestler. We can't wait for this guy to meet a seasoned Muay Thai guy. Whatever it may be, whatever we think what his weakness is, that's the one that we can't wait to see him get matched up against to see whether or not he can persevere. So we were waiting to see with Chimaev. What's he going to be able to do? Grappling is just incredibly dominant, absolutely out of control. Everyone's comparing him to Khabib, saying that he's just bigger and he's mauling and all these things that he can do. What's he going to do when he gets in there against Gilbert Burns, a guy who's a world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner? Didn't even really go to the grappling, right? We ended up seeing that one being a striking fair, absolutely amazing fight. Great fight. A lot of people said that in that one we saw Chimaev get exposed. Personally, I'm not willing to go down that route. I wasn't willing to give him Superman status anyways. I didn't think he was going to make it all the way to the title and come through unscathed. So I figured it was only a matter of time before we saw somebody offer some real competition, right? Somebody who's going to just be there, not get put away, not be deterred, not be unmotivated, not be intimidated by the aura that the man brings based off what he's already done. And Gilbert Burns is the one who did that. Great. Now, look, I know we had a fight after that. We're not going to talk about what happened with Kevin Holland. We know if the UFC has taught us anything, and the UFC is beautiful in the sense that it ended so much debate. Forever, we used to talk about how different styles would match up. Forever, we used to debate about how these different things would play out if we were able to see it go. But a lot of it was so much of theory. A lot of it was so much of just debate, right? It was all academic. We never really got to see it. And if we did happen to see little bits here and there, it wasn't really authentic. It wasn't played out enough times for us to get a really real feel for what was going to work, what wasn't, how different things were going to look. Man, the UFC did away with all that. The UFC did away with all of that. And if there's one thing that it taught us, one thing that we know for sure is that if you have a man who has elite level wrestling against a man who has subpar or even average wrestling, it's not going to go well for the average wrestler. It is not going to go well for the guy who has the subpar grappling. So look, I'm a huge Kevin Holland fan, but we all knew that when he stepped in there against a man like Khamzat Chimaev, we knew how that was going to play out. It was fast. It was ugly. Chimaev went in there and dominated him from the moment that bell rang until the moment he finished him, right? and there's not too much time in between those two moments. So look, we knew how that was going to play out. But now we hear him talking about getting his biggest test today. Now we're going to hear him talking about potentially fighting Colby Covington. Now, look, it's easy to hate on Colby Covington. The dude goes out there and he plays the heel. He goes out there and he is the bad guy WWE type character, right? That's just the way that he does. He's got the models that he's hiring. He's cracking on all the virgins and the haters and whoever else it may be and all of these things. But let's not gloss over the fact that the only reason all of that is even in our face able to be seen, the only reason it's even there, the only reason he's got a platform to put all that on, right, is because of how good of a fighter he is. Let's not forget that. Let's not underestimate that for 1 second. Yeah, we saw what happened when he went out there and he fought Usman those 2 times. Other than Usman, man, the man has been dominant. Incredibly dominant against big name fighters. He goes in there and just puts it on them, man. He goes out there and just works them. His striking continues to get better. His wrestling is very dominant. His cardio is absolutely through the roof. Probably the best cardio in the division, maybe the best cardio in the UFC. The man his training partners talk about him having a third lung. Right? Just casually referring to it like his cardio is insane, right? Mike Brown, head coach at ATT, was like, dude, I've never seen anything like it. I think he was kind of just born that way. I think it's genetic. I mean, his cardio is just something to behold. It's something else. And that's something that I think is going to be interesting. Have we seen Chimaev get tested super hard in the 4th and 5th rounds against a wrestler like Colby Covington? And if he does, what's that going to look like? Have we seen Chimaev have to get off his back against a man who's got control like Colby Covington? Have we seen him have to deal with the mix-up that's going to come between the way he's able to mix up the striking and mix up the takedowns? We've never seen Chimaev have to fight off his back foot. I mean, is there anybody out there who thinks that Khamzat is going to go out there, run across the octagon, take Colby down, hold him down for a whole 5 minutes and beat him up and do that round after round after round until this fight ends? Because I don't even think that's in the realm of possibilities. Could he get some takedowns? Sure, of course that could happen. Nobody is impervious to getting taken down. We've all seen guys with perfect takedown records, and we've seen that end. So could Khamzat take Colby down? Sure, I think he could. But Colby's been in some bad spots, man, and he's fought much higher level competition. I feel confident in his ability to find his way out of things. Chimaev is the guy that we're going to see the real test for here. I think this is an awesome fight, man. I'm super happy that the UFC's making it. On the one hand, we need to see Colby Covington fight top-level competition. That's who he is. Only guy we've seen him lose to is Usman. He's going to get the rematch. Otherwise, we'd be seeing him in there potentially with Leon Edwards. Khamzat Chimaev is on the way up. He's continually answered every single test that's been put in front of him so far. Eventually, you got to give this dude like a top 3 guy. Eventually, you got to put him in there against somebody who's the best of the best. Eventually, you have to put him in there against the guy where, in essence, it becomes almost a title limiter, right? I mean, you have to think that the person who wins this fight is going to be fighting the winner of Leon Edwards versus Usman. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Are you as excited about him as this one? Do you think Chimaev is going to really have something coming? Do you think Colby Covington is going to be able to shut down the hype train? Maybe hype train's a little exaggerated because of what we've seen him do so far. Is he going to be able to shut him down in the sense of people are no longer going to think he's a world beater. They're going to think he's just a regular guy. They're going to think that he's a world-class fighter, but he's not going to run through everybody. He's not a mythological figure. He's not going to have this absolutely legendary run where nobody's able to put a loss on his record. Is Colby Covington going to be able to stop that if he can't get the win? What's Chimaev going to look like? Man, I think this is a really good one. So let me know what you guys think. Are you as excited about it as me? Let me know.